What if I told you that the biggest lesson I learned on a naturist beach had absolutely nothing to do with being naked? A few years ago, if someone had asked me what naturism was, I would have answered without hesitation. It's about people who don't wear clothes. That was it. That was all I knew. And to be honest, I never really questioned it. I imagined beautiful bodies, embarrassing situations, people staring at each other. I wondered why anyone would ever choose that kind of experience. Maybe you've asked yourself the very same question, because that's exactly what I believed, until curiosity slowly changed everything. Something happened that I never expected. Not far from where I live, there's an official naturist beach. I had known about it for years. Friends talked about it. Some of them were members of the LGBTQ+ community. They spoke about it naturally, without embarrassment, without shame. I listened, but honestly, I still didn't understand. I wasn't interested in becoming a naturist. I simply wanted to understand what could possibly attract people to a place where everyone was naked. The question stayed in my mind for a long time. Then, instead of judging, I started reading, listening, watching, trying to understand. Little by little, something unexpected happened. The more I learned, the less interested I became in naked bodies, and the more interested I became in the people behind them. Because every article, every interview, every conversation seemed to repeat the same idea. Naturism wasn't really about the body, it was about something much deeper. The more I read, the more I realized that maybe this wasn't really about naturism. Maybe it was about something every one of us experiences, the fear of being judged. Think about your own life. How many times have you changed the way you dressed because of what other people might think? How many times have you stayed silent because you were afraid of saying the wrong thing? How many photos have you deleted because you didn't like the way you looked? Without even noticing, we spend years building a version of ourselves designed to be accepted. We choose our clothes, our words, our smiles, sometimes even our dreams, not because they truly represent who we are, but because they feel safer. Little by little, we become actors in our own lives, always performing, always adjusting, always wondering, what will they think of me? It's exhausting, and the strange thing is, most of us don't even realize we're carrying that weight. We simply call it normal life. Eventually, curiosity became stronger than prejudice. So one day, I decided to see it with my own eyes. I wasn't looking for freedom, I wasn't looking for a new lifestyle, I was looking for answers. And I remember something very clearly. Before arriving, I was convinced that everyone would be looking at everyone else. I thought I would notice every body, every difference, every imperfection. Instead, something completely unexpected happened. Almost nobody was looking at anyone. People were reading, talking quietly, walking, swimming, laughing with their families. Children were playing. Older couples were enjoying the sun. Friends were sharing lunch together. Life was simply happening. For the first time, I stopped seeing nudity. I started seeing people. The more I observed, the more something felt strange. I had expected people to spend the whole day looking at each other's bodies. Instead, they were simply living. Nobody seemed interested in comparing themselves. Nobody seemed interested in judging anyone else. And that's when I asked myself a question. Nobody seemed interested in comparing themselves. Nobody seemed interested in judging anyone else. And that's when I asked myself a question. If nobody here is judging anyone, why do we spend so much of our lives feeling judged everywhere else? Maybe the problem was never the beach. Maybe the problem was something we had been carrying with us all along. Long before we ever think about taking off our clothes, most of us have already learned to hide. We hide our fears, our insecurities, our imperfections, sometimes even our true personality. Not because someone asked us to, but because little by little, we learn that being accepted often feels more important than being authentic. So we become careful. Careful about what we say, careful about what we wear, careful about how we look, careful about what other people might think. It's a prison without walls, and the strange thing is, almost everyone lives inside it, without even realizing it. That day, I didn't discover naturism. I discovered something about myself. I realized that I had spent years paying attention to bodies when the real story had always been people. Their smiles, their conversations, their respect for each other, their simplicity. The body was only the first thing you noticed. After a few minutes, it became the least interesting thing there. And maybe that's the greatest paradox of naturism. The place where people wear the least is often the place where appearance matters the least. When people hear the word naturism, they usually think about naked bodies. I understand why. I used to think exactly the same. But today, if someone asked me what naturism really means, my answer would be very different. I would say, it's a place that quietly asks you a question. Who are you? When you stop trying to impress everyone else. Not only on a beach, in life, because maybe we've been wearing invisible clothes for years. Clothes made of fear, expectation, comparison, and approval. Those are much heavier than fabric. I didn't become a different person. I didn't suddenly stop caring about what people think. I'm still learning. I'm still asking questions. I'm still curious. But something changed. I stopped believing that freedom begins on the outside. I started believing that it begins much deeper, inside the way we see ourselves, inside the way we look at others, inside the courage to accept that being different is not a problem to solve. It's part of being human. And perhaps that's why this journey never really ends. Because every time we stop judging someone else, we also become a little less harsh with ourselves. Maybe this video was never really about naturism. Maybe it was about something much more familiar, the desire to stop hiding, to stop performing, to stop living according to someone else's expectations. I don't know if naturism is the answer for everyone. I honestly don't think it has to be, but I do believe that asking ourselves these questions can change the way we see the world. It certainly changed the way I see people, and maybe that's where every meaningful journey begins, not with certainty, but with curiosity. If this video gave you something to think about, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Not because I have all the answers, but because I believe every conversation helps us understand a little more. If you'd like to continue exploring nature, freedom, and the ideas behind naturism, I'd be happy to have you with us, because this channel isn't just about places, it's about the journey, and every journey is better when we walk it together. See you in the next documentary.